The greatest inquiry in the thought of a man to go for the hair transplant in Delhi is to whom I ought to go for hair transplant in Delhi, who is the best hair transplant surgeon in Delhi and which is the best hair transplant clinic in Delhi. To pick best hair transplant clinic in Delhi, one should search for the accompanying focuses. 1. Whether the working specialist is well qualified hair transplant doctor in Delhi. What is his degree? Is he has any perceived preparing in the hair rebuilding? For doing hair transplant, a specialist ought to have many years of experience in the field. You ought to likewise search for the experience of the hair transplant surgeon in Delhi and see that what number of medical procedures the specialist is performing in multi-month. Regardless of whether hair transplant is his primary space of training or he is doing it once in a while alongside different medical procedures. Additionally, search for the audits of the patients worked by the specialist. 2. Second vital inquiry to search for best hair transplant facility is, regardless of whether the facility is very much furnished to manage all crisis conditions. Robotized external defibrillator and all other gear and crisis solutions ought to be there to manage any crisis condition. 3. Hair transplant is a cooperation. Specialists are the essential parts of the group of hair transplant unit. The specialist as a rule completes an extraction of follicle and experts do implantation of the follicles. You ought to ask about the staff of the hair transplant center in Delhi whether they are sufficiently prepared, full-time or not. The consequence of best hair transplant in Delhi likewise relies on the commitment of a professional. 4. Inquire about how they are charging. Charges must be per join. In the event that some person is utilizing the term boundless hair transplant, it isn't conceivable to ensure what number of unions and how much territory will be secured. 5. Also search for the system by which hair transplant will be done. Both foot and fouet are a decent system in the hand of a specialist, yet fouet is a visually impaired method. It is more specialist subordinate. If a specialist isn't sufficiently prepared in fouet extraction, odds of follicle harm increments and the outcome will endure. In foot, follicle analyzation is done under a magnifying lens by specialists, so it is more reliant on the prepared professionals. In the event that they harm follicle, analyzation result will endure. Whatever might be the strategy, a best hair transplant facility and specialist ought to have the capacity to do both. The method with break even with effectiveness and result.